Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us this morning on a Saturday, and welcome to the 13th English Radio Drama Competition Script Writing and Voice Sound Effects Workshop. The host for this year's Script Writing and Voice Workshop is Smart Education Charitable Foundation. And besides holding competitions, Smart Education Charitable Foundation endeavors to organize, support, and promote educational and charitable activities that are beneficial to the community. So we'd also like to take a moment now to show our deepest appreciation to our sponsors and supporters whose support allowed us to bring the competition to even greater heights. So we're extremely honored to have Scholar as one of our sponsors for the third consecutive year. The Standing Committee on Language Education and Research, so Scholar for short, was established in 1996 to advise the Hong Kong government on language education issues and on the use of language fund. They also provide various grants to schools for enhancing language education effectiveness, such as the grant scheme on promoting effective English language learning in primary schools. Also, we'd like to thank the following sponsors for their continued support, and in no particular order, we have ETS TOEIC, TOEFL ITP, TOEFL Junior, KEA Learning International Limited, EF English Centers, Nikki Asia, 4M Creative Educational Toys, Life Care Surgical Mask, Kawaii Kanyu Drop, and Fortune Pharmacal. So thank you very much for your support this year. We are honored to have Mr. Christopher Jordan as our guest speaker today to share with us his experience and skills. So Mr. Christopher Jordan is an experienced and devoted education professional who has spent the past 8 years educating students of all ages in the United States, the Chinese mainland, and Hong Kong. His areas of expertise include pronunciation and phonology, teacher training for ESL, and curriculum design. And also, prior to joining EF and work in education, Mr. Jordan worked as an opera singer and actor, having performed across the US and Europe. His characterizations of buffer roles in Mozart's operas are well regarded and received positive critical review. He was a prize winner in 3 Nat singing competitions, winner of the Gloria Allen Prize, and a semi-finalist of the Meister Singer competition in Graz, Austria. So, without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Jordan.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I look forward to working with you guys today and helping you guys to make your radio dramas much more exciting and interesting and engaging. So when we look at today, we're going to go over 4 main topics today. We're going to look at what makes a story, what makes it interesting, what's the difference between a story and just information. We're going to look at how to show and not tell. This is a really important concept when we think about how we can make make it so that our listeners actually are engaged in what they're participating in. We're going to look at how to make our characters very bold and interesting and engaging, and how we can use our voices to support all of the action that's going on in the stories. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing we'll look at is what makes a story, right? So what are some of the things that help with being better is that rather than just telling us information about what happened, we're actually we're giving information that's visual. Okay, we can think about the eggs. We think, and it's also a little bit weird, right? Why does this person want eggs so much? It's a kind of a silly idea in a way, but it helps us to really get some visual ideas. We can all think about it, and when you read it, you probably had a better visual idea of what was going on there. Exactly, yeah, more detail. It's much richer. Exactly. So this is something to think about with your stories. So. Yeah, so what we heard there was Guy Noir. So when you listened to that, so how do you think the actors made the story interesting? What were some of the things that you guys heard? You can go ahead and type them into the Q&A box. Right. Different tones. That's right, Sumi. There's lots of different. They don't just say things very flat. They use their voices to carry a lot of information, a lot of emotion, and everything about who they are. Different accents, uses of sound, right? Yeah, there was a lot of, we'll look at that even more. If you saw the one guy in the corner, he was making all of those sounds, the sounds of people walking in, the sounds of the hair clippers, the sounds of the coffee shop, all these different things, right? So that's right. So there's lots of different things that we can do to make the story much more interesting. So we're going to look, though, at some of those examples as well. And one of the things that I think is really important about what they do is they use a concept called showing, not telling. So we're going to look at that now. Okay, we're going to look at how it's showing and not telling. So when we show and not tell, usually when we look at an image, we tend to like to want to tell things. So when you look at this picture, can you just tell me what is in that picture, or how would you describe that picture? That's right. So this is all very good showing information, and this will help when you're doing a radio drama. This really helps your listener really visualize things and get involved in the story. If you just sit there and say John was scared, the person just kind of maybe doesn't really feel it. They don't really understand that John was scared, right? But and if you're really good at this, you can even get sometimes with your characters to be so good that people actually can visualize exactly what your character looked like, even though you never say that this person had brown hair, or they had blonde hair, or that they had a beard, or that they were overweight. But the way that you describe them, the way that they move and everything like this can actually make a person imagine a character exactly like the one that you would describe. So it's quite cool. All right, guys, so we're going to look at, do you guys have any questions about show and tell before we move on? Do I mean that a narrator is not necessary? No, not necessary. So you notice actually when we listen to Guy Noir, he actually, the guy himself, Guy Noir, is the narrator as well as the character, right? He's telling you a story, right? But he's also participating in the story as it happens, right? So he tells you, I went to the barber shop, and then you hear him interacting with the barber. So you see, he has a narrator as well there, but the narrator should also be using very visual, showy language, not just saying, oh, I went to the barber shop, I got a haircut. It should be a little bit more interesting, and to build up the intensity of the story, right? So let's move on to the next thing, which is a really good point to talk about now, which is characters. All right. When we think about showing and not telling, the way that we do that the best in our radio drama is through making very interesting and engaging characters. So what we covered, we covered what about different ways to make a story interesting. We learned about showing, not telling. We learned about how to make our characters a bit more interesting and using our voices. Now, yeah, thank you very much, guys, for coming today. And yeah, I think that I think that you guys are all going to do a great job, and congratulations for getting this far in the competition. I really look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. And I think, I think that just remember to try to make your characters as rich and as interesting as possible. Thanks so much for coming.
Our time is up. And once again, before we go, we'd like to offer a huge thank you to Mr. Christopher Jordan for joining us today with so much advice and so many activities. And to you guys, we hope that you'll all be able to practice those new techniques and be able to perform to your best in the next round. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck. Bye-bye.